I don't even know if you're a human at this point. This is the map of my all-time favorite country, Estonia. Keep in mind, this video is going to feature a coconut mall instead of the theme for Subway Surfers sped up because of the amount of times I had to listen to it while editing all the other history videos that feature the Subway Surfers theme but sped up. So now my brain starts to die inside every time I listen to it because of the amount of times I heard it and it got too repetitive. So there you go. Anyways, getting to the point. Starting off with the early 20th century, not much happened except for Estonia being a part of the Russian Empire. I tried to look up what happened during the early 20th century, but not much happened, so we're just gonna have to skip over to World War I. During World War I, the Germans took over Estonia, and then everything got worse when the Bolsheviks took over Russia and then turned it into the Soviet Union, but thankfully the country gained its independence on February 24th, 1918. Wait, February 24th? That's today! Happy whichever holiday you'll whatever the name of the holiday you guys celebrate in Estonia on February 24th is. And I get it, you didn't see Estonia wear a scarf when you first saw it in this video, but then when we started blabbering on about World War I and what happened to Estonia during World War I, then a scarf appeared on them magically. I just forgot to put the scarf when Estonia was chained together with Russia. And the country fought for its independence in the Estonian War of Independence and worked together with the other Baltic countries such as Latvia and Lithuania, but also worked with countries against the Soviet Union in the Estonian War of Independence that don't even belong to the Baltic region, like Finland, aka its best friend, and the UK. Really? You guys working together to defeat me in the Estonian War of Independence, the Latvian War of Independence, and the Lithuanian Soviet War? That's supposed to make me scared? There is no way that you're gonna stand a chance against such a country. At the end of the war, the Soviets were defeated, and then they were forced to sign the Treaty of Tartu on February 2nd, 1920. Nothing else happened in the 1920s, but in 1934, the Great Depression struck Estonia, and at the same time, Konstantin Pats became the president of the country, but he wasn't as bad as all the other autocrats. In September of 1939, the country was assigned to the sphere of influence of the Soviet Union, and then my least favorite thing that happened to Estonia was when it was annexed by the Soviets on August 6th, 1940. I remember when I used to obsess over Estonia, I used to wish that the Soviet annexation of not only Estonia of 1940, but also the Soviet annexation of all the other countries like Latvia, Lithuania. I remember I used to wish that this never happened. But now that I think about it, it's a canon event. If this never happened, then by now Estonia would have been Nordic, which is exactly what it wants to be. I don't know if this will count as a side note, but side note, I don't mean that Estonia being Nordic is a bad thing. It is a good thing. I'm just saying that it'll still screw up the timeline. We'll talk more about Estonia wanting to be Nordic later, alright? In October of 1941, the Germans took over Estonia, and it took 3 years and many battles for the Soviets to get back to the country from the Germans by 1944. And by 1950, the Estonian Communist Party was erased from existence, never to see the light of day again. And nothing else happened to Estonia in the 50s, not anything happened to Estonia in the 60s, but in the 1970s, the Estonians grew increasingly concerned about the cultural Russification of the national identity and their culture, because this cultural Russification of Estonia was being such a big deal that even Estonian kindergartners were being taught how not only to properly speak Estonian, but also how to speak Russian fluently. In 1987, the Estonians started a revolution called the Singing Revolution, where, like what the name implies, they were singing a bunch of songs about how much they want to regain their independence from the Soviet Union. What fascinates me, though, is that for some reason the Soviets never did anything to prevent these Estonians from acting like they're Elvis Presley, singing about how much they want to regain their independence from the Soviet Union. After 4 years since the Singing Revolution started, on August 20th, 1991, Estonia finally gained its independence. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union just collapsed. Then there was this ship called the SS Estonia, which was on its way from Tallinn, Estonia to Stockholm, Sweden, and on September 28th, 1994, when it was on that journey, mid-journey, it was revealed that the bow door was separated from the vessel, pulling the ramp ajar, which caused it to sink. I remember back in 2021, 1 year before I started this channel, I used to be obsessed with ships. Ships like the Titanic, the Olympic, the Britannic, the Lusitania, the Empress of Ireland. I used to be obsessed with those ships, and I remember I used to watch Jesse Gillette's content revolving around those ships. Videos such as the Tiny Sailors World series, some vehicle simulator videos, and even videos on Roblox Titanic, Roblox Britannic. I might have to binge watch all those videos again because god damn, those videos are infinite nostalgia generators. And I remember I even used to speak sailor. And I knew what stern was, bow, starboard, what listing meant, and even port. In March of 2004, Estonia joined NATO and then the EU in May of the same year, and on January 1st, 2011, Estonia became the first Baltic country to replace its old kroni currency with the euros. And yes, it's pronounced kroni, not korun, at least according to Google Translate.
Kroni.
As of 2021, 3 million tourists visited the country, and as of that same year, the country's GDP was worth around $37.19 billion, making it the richest ex-Soviet country in the world. They've got a good quality of life, and here's something I have to say about the fact that Estonia wants to become a Nordic country. It's all because the Nordic countries are richer than the Baltic countries. I mean, Estonia, you don't need to become Nordic just because the Nordic countries are richer than the Baltic countries, aka the group that you belong to. So if you're already prospering as a Baltic country, then you're prospering already as a Baltic country. So that is why you cannot into Nordic. Anyways, next up is my other all-time favorite country from the Nordic region, Finland. So stay tuned by liking the video so that you can see more of my content while you wait for the next episode, or better, by subscribing. Not only is it a benefit for me, but it is also a benefit for you as a viewer, so you don't miss out on every video that I make. And shout out to Mr. History for the information that I needed for this video. Anyways, do widzenia.